What's up, guys? We are live, and my notifications need to go off because that's going to get gosh darn annoying. Okay. Tonight, we're actually going to have a little conversation on how to hack the haters. Now, what does it mean to hack the haters? Well, there are a plethora of cognitive biases. What's up, Brittany? Welcome on. We are going to have a bit of a delay, by the way, that actually help to direct people's thought and the way that they act. What's up, Josh? So here tonight, we are going to help redirect that attention and help you to understand how the haters are getting under your skin, into your mind, and manipulating your thoughts and actions into a direction that's more hateful and barbaric. Pretty negative. What's up? How are you? What's going on, Hans? So tonight we're going to do a little conversation. I was thinking about how we could hack it. No pun intended. How do I get into this in a way that is beneficial to everybody and can still answer your concerns? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I will read through each bias, no matter who's live or who's not live. You guys could be watching this on the replay. I appreciate you being here. If you're brand new, what's called, you actually wrote nope. We're gonna say nope on that one. Oh, what's up, Sherry? How are you? No, it's right in. It's we're just gonna go through the biases. They're on it's called Google. It's on Wikipedia. If anybody would look them up, you guys could learn on your own. But I'm more than happy to be here with you. What's up, Tito? How are you? Okay. So the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of crazy stuff out there. And my name is Jimmy, and I'm a vlogger. Let's go with Perry. Well, you got to watch my stuff, bro. You got to watch my last video. Guys, we're not good. That's another thing. As we grow on these other platforms, Tara, welcome on. As we grow on these other platforms, guys, we got to stay on topic. All right? So, whereas over on Periscope, I would talk about a million different things, and that's fine. But here on YouTube, when I bring up a subject, we'll talk about that subject, we'll shut off, and we'll go to the next one. If you miss something and you're not caught up, you got to go through the replays. You got to go watch a video. And I'm sorry, I'm not here to rehash stuff, okay? We're going to go over the subjects as they come up. If you're not informed on that subject, I promise you more than likely that it is covered in the last videos. As far as what's going on with Periscope, you guys are updated as much as possible. If you're not on my Instagram, then you missed the call out to let you know to come and hit me up and talk about that. Like I said, I did a shout out for that. So, back on topic. So understanding the haters and what's going on with that. Once again, I am a vlogger. All right. I'm brand new to it. My videos suck. I'm a live streamer. But this is my community. This is our community. And we spread positivity online by engaging more personally. So like I talk to a lot of my people that are in here, very much so, off a live stream, off of, recording and anything over on Instagram. It's a very personal thing for me. It's pretty much my life. I live out of my car. Make ends meet to the best of the ability, and really just try to connect with people. So, this is literally my life, is being here with you guys. So we are the most loving place on the internet, best family there is, and I'm thankful that each and every one of you is here with me. So we've gotten a lot of. I put a request out there if you guys wanted to see this tonight, and overwhelmingly, yes, people want to hear about this. So we're gonna put it out there. And then we're going to open up to Q&A. So for those of you watching, we're about to go over the 26 cognitive biases and, the ways in which people kind of get under your skin. Positivity like butter. Yes. The way that these people get under your skin. And then in reference to anything I bring up, I want you guys to go ahead. I'm not even joking. I want you to get out a pen and a pad and a pen and a piece of paper and write down anything that I'm saying that could possibly refer to anything that you're experiencing or the way that the haters are kind of duping you. And we can go over it more in depth. Because after I'm going to go over this, now most of my lives are not like this. They're not directed like this. But this is a very specific one. It's very important. And once we go over it, then you guys could ask your questions. And, anything from Flash or the mobs. What's up, Bonnie? How are you? Anything from the mobs that these people do, all over the map. And we can answer those questions. So like I could explain to you how they get people into a mob. I could explain to you how they manipulate you into believing what they have to say. There's a lot of different psychology that goes into it that they are familiar with, but unfortunately they use it for negative purposes. So we're going to get started here because we're already 5 minutes in. So first off, we have, now if you don't like this, it's totally okay. I'll see you in the next broadcast, or we'll see you in another live, or in the recordings, whatever works for you. But how they make me feel like a beaten seal. We could definitely have that conversation. That has a lot to do with social shame and humiliation. It causes us to kind of retract, but depending on your personality is how you react to it. And they're familiar with attacking, depending on your which way to attack, depending on your personality. So we'll definitely get into that. What we're doing here, the biggest goal of this is to expose the haters. Now, here's what I mean by that. Everybody else exposes people, right? Over on Periscope, what do? It's drama. They dox them. They put their information out. They hate. It's hate. All right? Well, we're here to do, what we are here to do is to reveal their tactics and techniques so that you can protect yourself against those negative people. So the next time they try to get in your head and they convince you of something false, that you don't fall for it. And a lot of times what ends up happening is we get a lot of good people that will come and watch, and then they'll hear about it, and then they'll say something out loud. They'll get emotionally charged. They'll say something negative to me, and then they stick around for a little while. They find out that what was said about me wasn't true. They feel like crap about it, but they don't retract on it because of ego, because they don't want to be embarrassed or shown that they were wrong. But many, many times I have people who have trash talked me who then message me and say, hey, look, I'm not telling anybody, but I was wrong about you. I'm sorry, blah, 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 but it's embarrassing. And I get that, and that's totally fine. So we're going to move on here. So decision-making belief. All right, like I said, now guys, this is a big deal. So if you feel this is important to you and you don't want to get duped by the haters, write this down. This is how it gets in your head. If you want to know part of why we're getting the success that we're getting with our channels, this is some insider secret stuff. Now, this is stuff you could find in the public. This is stuff you could find people selling to you. But here, I'm just going to help you guys out a little bit because I don't want to see you fooled by this anymore. All right? And now we're in a platform and in a place where it's safe for me to go ahead and share this with you. So here we go. So decision-making belief and behavioral biases. Many of these biases affect belief formation, business and economic decisions, and human behavior in general. They arise as a replicable result to a specific condition. When confronted with a specific situation, the deviation from what is normally expected can be characterized by these things. Okay? So pretty much this means that when a situation goes awry, something goes wrong, that these kind of things can explain why people have adverse and irrational reactions. Like when people come and hate on me, it's an adverse and irrational reaction. But these things can help to explain why they react that way. And maybe if you're watching this, why you might react that way. And we'll see. Because I know we got some haters in here. I'm well aware of that. But here we go. Oh my gosh, I am so rehearsed right now. I know I'm like very proper, but it's because I'm on focus. You guys know me, like I'm silly 24/7. But here we go. So one is ambiguity effect. The tendency to avoid options for which missing information makes the probability seem unknown. What's up, Steven? Okay. So the tendency to avoid options which missing information makes the probability seem unknown. Okay. The tendency to avoid options that have missing information because it makes them seem unknown. That's the ambiguity effect. Okay. How do the haters use the ambiguity effect? I'll give a prime example. Now this, once again, if people are leaving, guys, let me tell you this. People say that they want the truth. And people say, well, they're smart and they have the answers. Well, I'm telling you right here, this is the exact formula that these people use. The exact formula. If you do not sit and listen to this, then you cannot claim anything against anybody. Like, oh my God. Okay. See what I'm saying? Like, nutso. Like, that's what you get. You don't get this stuff in your head and learn. That's what you get. All right? So I want you to listen in because this is important. All right? And if you don't and you're just thankful for me and you're just here, then I'm thankful for you and it's all good. And you don't have to be here and it's all good. But I also don't want to see you get duped. So that's why I'm explaining this here, to educate those who want to be educated. So now this isn't me educating you. All right? This is the information educating you. I'm just the guy that's putting the information that already exists in front of you. I'm not a teacher. I'm not. I'm just an aggregator. I'm just bringing you the info that's already here. So the tendency to avoid options that have missing information. I told you guys why my account was limited on Periscope, right? But I did not show proof, right? I just told you because I shouldn't have to show proof, right? But what do the haters do? The haters, they will fabricate evidence and proof because your brain, because of this ambiguity effect, by nature, your brain wants to inject ideas. Your brain, by nature, wants to cling to the ideas that have more information, more proof, because more proof means more safety. Our brain, the reptilian part of our brain, and the reactionary part of our brain says more information is better. That is the most raw, easiest way to say it is the most raw part of our brain says, I want to know this. I want to know this. Oh, well, there's more information here. This must be the truth. Okay? They act on that. They act on that ambiguity bias. Whenever you hear fake phone calls with my family, when you see fake articles on the internet, reptilian, interesting reference. Yeah. When you're dealing with fake phone calls to my family, when you're seeing false articles on the internet about my scamming, right? What you get is madness and insanity. When people do not have the intelligence, when they ignore the reality that's given to them, or not what's given to them, but when they ignore reality and embrace the lies that are handed to them, that's what they receive. A fool's hand is a fool's hand. So that's the ambiguity effect, okay? When you're presented with information, but there's no actual proof that that information is accurate. Or when you have information, a mob effect in rooms. Yes. Oh, we're going to go over all of that. We're going to go over all of that. And another piece of that they do is they will then create backup information to back up their proof, which then further solidifies it in your mind. Well, they have proof of their proof. Proof of proof of proof of proof. It's called an Ouroboros. Look up Ouroboros. Ourobros. Ouroboros. A snake eating its tail. It represents a circular system, okay? They create a system in your brain where you say, well, this is true. It's all good, Ross. Watch our replays. Watch some of my replays. You'll see. Watch my replays here on YouTube that say Periscope on them, and you'll find that. And they create a system in your mind where you say, okay, well, this is true, like fake news. Yes, this is true. And then they have evidence for the evidence. And then they have evidence for the evidence for the evidence. And they get your mind trapped in this system where there's all this information. And you forget what the question was. You're so busy. They get you busy chasing after an answer to a question that was a lie to begin with. And that is when they win. When the haters win is when they get you to ask a question to begin with. The haters do not win when you chase after an answer and find an answer. The haters win when you make a choice to believe that they have a legitimate question. So that's one. That's the ambiguity effect. And like I said, we're going to go over these one at a time, and whatever it triggers for me is what we'll share. What's up, Brady? How are you? Anchoring or focalism, the tendency to rely too heavily or anchor on one trait or piece of information when making decisions, usually the first piece of information acquired on that subject. Okay, So the tendency to rely too heavily or anchor on one trait or piece of information when making decisions. Now, with that said, that can go either way. Okay? Let's understand that. You can either like me for the wrong reasons, or you can hate me for the wrong reasons. Now, what are the wrong reasons? Not necessarily any wrong reasons, right or wrong. But think of it like if you've seen me, okay, so think about it like if you've seen me volunteer, you've seen me help people, right? So then your brain, by receiving that information, if that's the first thing you saw about me, first impressions are huge. For anybody that doesn't know, first impressions make up a very large part of your opinion of someone. Our brain naturally, within 7 seconds, forms an opinion on what we see, okay? And what that is, it's a survival mechanism. Now, you might create excuses for me when I make mistakes because you've seen me volunteer or because you like me as a person, right? You may make excuses for my decisions when I make false decisions or if I make mistakes, right? That is anchoring or focalism, right? Making excuses for someone when they make mistakes, or vice versa. When the first thing that you read about me is a false article, when the first thing you see about me is a video from how long ago, when I was a hurt individual, when I was somebody that was attacked and really just defensive, and also I had my beliefs skewed. I didn't understand how the world really worked. I didn't really understand nature or love or any of that. You know, those videos long before I really understood any of that. And that being the first thing that you see, because those haters put it in front of your face to make sure that your brain will register that bias. That's why they show it to you, because they understand what anchoring is. They know that if they show you that first, that'll immediately change your opinion of me. And hopefully, they don't want you to be smart enough to get over that hump and realize that it's a falsehood and realize that it's not true, right? Even if it was true for whatever it is, if it was true at one point, that it's no longer true, right? And now that doesn't include the people saying crimes and stuff. That's just straight up false, okay? But any past mistakes that I've made. So they make an effort to get you to cling to the first amount of information that they give you. They want you to cling to the first information that you see. Rapid Robo, come on. They are still getting content from... They're not getting content from me. They're giving content to me. This is a give-give relationship, but they're not receiving anything. All they're doing is giving me traffic. It's not a bad thing. Figuring stuff out and never give you a chance to evolve. That's what they're making an effort to do. Body language is the key to lies. And the truth. But here's the thing, Stephen. If people already have that ambiguity, if they're already working on anchoring, then someone will look at you and they will always have already have a negative opinion. Gary Vaynerchuk, right? Curses like a sailor. But that man is a genius and he helps a lot of people. If you heard from your friend, oh, hey, yeah, that so-and-so, Vaynerchuk, you heard him talking, blah, blah, blah. And then you said, okay, well, let me go check this guy out online. In your mind, somebody that you care about has already told you that this man holds a negative connotation. Whether that's true or not, you've already heard it. You might go online and see this man cursing or see his demeanor, and you might feel offended by his demeanor. Believe it or not, a very large part of your opinion on his actions is predicated and decided based on what your friend told you. And that is anchoring. Okay? So someone might see me and think I'm a saint, and someone else might see me and think I'm a sinner. But, it can very much be dependent on what someone has said about you. So moving on to the next one. Anthropocentric thinking, a tendency observed in children to use human analogies as a basis for reasoning about other, less familiar biological phenomena. We're going to skip that one because that one's going to be a little tough to explain. That's how I found out about me, but I had to figure out on my own. Yep. Well, kudos to you. Kudos to you for being smart enough. Good stuff. All right, what else we got? Let me see here. Give me 1 second, guys. Give me a quick second. I left my Harvard degree somewhere. That's funny. No, but that's not what I meant. I mean, it's deep, bro. Like, it's super, like, it's like not like we could do an entire broadcast just about that, dude. No joke. Like, just on that one alone. Anthropocentric term, yeah, like, yeah. But anthropocentric thinking is extremely complex. So we could do an entire broadcast on that one. Think of it. I don't know. I don't think I can make a good enough analogy on that one. Anthropomorphism, or personification, the tendency to characterize animals, objects, in abstract contexts as possessing human-like traits, emotions, and intentions. That one's obvious, but I mean, not that they really use that one, but like calling somebody a snake or like, you know, stuff like that. I mean, it goes further than that, but we're not going to go into that one. That one's a little far-fetched because it's not used too. I mean, they don't use that too often, but they do. But I mean, there's more important ones. Attentional bias. The tendency of our perception to be affected by our reoccurring thoughts. Okay, so attentional bias. Think about it like it's the amount of times that you're exposed to something. Okay, so Donald Trump, for example, believe it or not, one of the greatest tactics he had in the success of, now this isn't getting into politics. We're talking about marketing. Hear me out. We're talking about marketing. We are not talking about going into the president, going into politics, but we are going to speak on the marketing. One of his greatest tactics was social media marketing. Broadcast you on Periscope. Sweet. I think that we're going to put you on a timeout, Pete Castillo. But I don't know. Once again, I'm not here to provide evidence. I'm here to provide truth. We're going to expose the haters by exposing the way that they work. Instead of exposing their work, we're going to expose how they think so you can be smarter and not get duped by them. Because I could disprove every little thing that they do, but they know the tactics. They will find something else. But if I teach you, or just put this in front of you, that you can get this on your own and not get duped by them, then they will never get you again. And that's the goal. That you be smart enough, because you are smart enough. It's just that nobody's introduced the information to you. That's all. But now you have it, and you can power through and get past these people. Are obsessed with you. It's crazy. It's all good, because they know that we are the downfall of their infrastructure. But if they hadn't made an effort to follow me to YouTube, they wouldn't have to worry about me having this broadcast right now. But now their entire infrastructure is going to fall apart. What's up, Mark? How are you? And they're just fangirls. I know. So that's attentional. Attentional bias is the amount of times that someone sees you. Think of it that way, in a very simple terms. So one of the greatest, they try hard to change our mind. It's all good, Josh. What's up, Superbo? One of the greatest, this is one of the biggest things that they do, is plastering my name everywhere, saying the same thing, making up the same lies, putting it in the comments, subliminal thoughts. When they post in the comments 1,000 times over, and your face, yes. When they post 1,000 times over, scammer, 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 guess what's going to go through your brain? Scammer. You can't help it. It's going to enter your mind. But how much it affects your emotions and your belief is based on your mental capacity, and it's based on your ability for discipline, for mental discipline, to block out and filter out bad stuff and face stuff. They force you to question. There you go. So that's the tendency of our perception to be affected by our reoccurring thoughts. So, what comes into your mind more is going to affect the way that you think. And with marketing, that's a big thing. We'll use Tai Lopez now. Guys, if you ever watch a Tai Lopez video and you have monetization, or not monetization, but you watch ads and stuff like that going to websites, guess who you see everywhere? Tai Lopez. Because he's smart and he's aware of that bias. He's aware of the fact that the amount of times that you be seen, what's it called? Fan or jealous person? I'm not going into that. I'm not interested in pursuing that. We're gonna move forward. And not because anything suspicious, but because we're not here to discuss that. We're not here to bring it into that. It's only bringing more life to them, just more attention to them. That's all they want. Good evening, Angel. How are you? Not just focus on you. Yeah, but that's what it is. It's repetition. How much can you be seen? So that's attentional bias. What's up, Tina? How are you? Welcome on. Thank you for all the likes, guys. It seems like bait. It is bait. But it's not false bait. For Ty, it's not false bait. His stuff really is legit. But for them, yeah, they're looking for clickbait. They're looking for you to come look at them. That's all they want. They're using me to get looked at. That's all it is. Like the YouTube format. Thanks, bro. It's good to see you. Good to see you too. So yeah. Guys, once again, you check some of my older videos. Right now, we're just going through and we're hashing out, taking down the hater infrastructure. It's fun. Just by putting this stuff out there that people can be aware, and then just moving on. And I don't mean moving on because we're not focusing on that either. We're just doing a scope to help people better themselves and understand how things work. I used to believe that, Superbo, but I don't agree with that anymore. There comes a point where it's just inappropriate and it affects public image. I'm not about it anymore. I'm thankful for anybody that talks about us, obviously, and it all helps us. It's just that I think it's important that we are able to be above it. And in order to do that, that image needs to remain untainted. So let them talk about us, and that's good. It's just the image that people see, for the most part, the majority needs to see the reality, the good stuff. One will chum the waters of a room and the other sharks will circle and attack. Yeah. So that's attentional bias. Then we have automation bias. So what's up, Alnav? How are you? Oh yeah, so feel free to subscribe. Subscriptions are much appreciated. If you want to help support our movement and what we're doing. As you know, one of my largest financial streams has dissipated. For the moment, we'll see. And no, I am not banned. You can go and watch the older videos. People can see you helping the poor, etc. Food. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Pete. Okay, what's up, Pete? We're gonna give you a second chance. Okay, so now we got automation bias. The tendency to depend excessively on automated systems, which can lead to erroneous automated information overriding correct decisions. Perfect example. Perfect example. When people leave this broadcast. This broadcast right here that helps you to uncover and unveil all the tactics that the haters use. If you leave this and you don't listen to this, if you don't already know about it, then you're proving that you don't want to know the truth. That's automation bias. That is, they are putting the information in front of me. I'm listening to what I want to hear, and I don't have time to learn about the truth. It's automation bias. That information is readily available, and it's automated in front of you. It's automated for you. You get that? You don't have to search for it. But you're missing out on the correct decisions, and you're missing out on the truth because you're not searching for it. It's now that's only speaking to the people who don't see the truth. That's for the people who actually think the negative things about me, right? It's automation bias. You're believing a falsehood because you're not searching. You're choosing to believe emotionally what you see instead of learning for yourself how to hear. Okay. So what's up, Robert? Welcome on. Next we have availability heuristic. The tendency to overestimate the likelihood of events with greater availability in memory. This one's going to take me a minute. Which can be influenced by how recent the memories are or how unusual or emotionally charged they may be. Yes, okay. So, tendency to overestimate the likelihood of events with greater availability in memory. So, for example, people that, this is a perfect example when we talk about the Ouroboros, perfect example when we talk about that people get told lies and they believe that lie, and then the next lie comes and they're more willing to believe that the next one. Okay, thanks. just try that's just another person trying to get me convinced to let haters talk. It's not gonna happen. Guys, for anybody that doesn't know, 90% of my hater comments get blocked by Periscope itself. They don't even make it through. They don't even make it through. When we hit 1 million, yeah, then I'm not going to be worried about it anymore. But right now, we're building a reputation, and they're not going to touch it. And that's the beauty of it. That's why do you think they're so obsessed? Because we left that platform, and they now cannot touch us, and we look incredible. And we're getting free stuff out the wazoo. And they're going nuts over it. The motive, Pete, I think the motives vary. The motives vary. There's everything from jealousy to straight up misery. I could remind them of someone that they don't like. Money. Money's another motivator. When they talk about me, it gets them attention, and they could have a nice little PayPal in their bio. There's many different perspectives, many different reasons. So availability heuristic. So it's mostly internalized jealousy. I think it's many different things, and you've had your chance, Peter, but unfortunately you're trying to incite hate, so you can leave my broadcast now. And just so you know, guys, when people are blocked, they can still view, they just can't comment. So yeah, it's like when one lie and then they believe a lie. But then in the future, you might be on lie number 3 and you might believe lie number 3. But lie number 1 and 2 have been so solidified in your brain and your emotions are chasing that truth, right? That truth. And then evidence might come up that says lie number 1, oh my gosh, I was wrong about him. I was wrong about Jimmy. Lie number 1 was never true. But guess what? You've already committed to lie number 1. You've committed to the belief of lie number 2. And now you're committing to the belief of lie number 3. Well, your ego says lie number 1 can't be wrong. It's like conspiracy theories. Yeah. Lie number 1 can't be wrong. No way. Because that would mean that I was wrong. So what does that mean? That you go harder on lie number 3. That means that you then cling to lie number 3 harder than you did 1 or 2 because you have to be right. You can't be wrong, because if you were wrong, that means you really messed up and you really hurt somebody's feelings and you really went against somebody who's trying to do good. And that makes you feel like crap, and you can't feel like crap. So what do? We deny reality, completely deny reality, and we enter a state of delusion, which is actually one of these cognitive biases, and we will go into it. So that's availability heuristic. Then we have availability cascade. Here we go. This leads right into it. We were just talking about a self-reinforcing process in which a collective belief gains more and more plausibility through its increasing repetition in public discourse, or repeat something long enough and it will become true. That's one of their biggest, if not the number 1 tactic that haters use, and you know it. A self-reinforcing process in which a collective belief gains more and more plausibility. Plausibility doesn't mean it's true. It means plausibility is how true can I think it is. More plausibility through its increased repetition in public discourse. So within the public eye. It's Soul Patch. We are hacking the haters. So I'm going through all the cognitive biases, and we're exposing not the haters, but the tactics that they use in order to manipulate and control people into hate mobs and other negative things. We're teaching people how to be smarter and to step out of the control that they are currently under by the haters. And the things that they, unfortunately, are allowing themselves to be duped and believe. But their ego tells them, well, no, I can't be wrong. But we're teaching them how to humble themselves and move on from it. I'm back, hacking the haters' hate. I love it. Like I said, it's not a hateful broadcast. This is to expose the truth about how the haters act so that you no longer get capped down and captive to them. Big issues these days, especially on social media. Absolutely, Soul Patch. So that's availability cascade. That is when you take the lie. What's up, Coco? How are you? To lie number 3, and then you take 10 people that are all the way up to lie number 3. Well, all of a sudden, lie number 3 seems pretty believable. That's availability cascade. So then you have backfire effect, the reaction to disconfirming evidence by strengthening one's previous beliefs. There you go. I don't know that I'm reading that. Let me make sure I get this one right. Backfire effect, the reaction to disconfirming evidence by strengthening one's previous beliefs. Yes. And I was talking about that earlier. Remember how I said you'll get to lie number 3, and then you'll realize that, wait, lie number 1 wasn't true, but then you'll reinforce it. You will intentionally, in your heart, reinforce lie number 1, even though you had evidence that proved that lie number 1 wasn't true. Okay? See, like, I already know about a lot of these, so that's why you'll hear me ramble off and I'll accidentally jump ahead. But that's the backfire effect. The reaction to disconfirming evidence, meaning cognitive dissonance. We'll take a look at that one, too. Such true words. Hi, Robin. Thank you. And that's the reaction to disconfirming evidence by strengthening one's previous beliefs. When our ego gets the best of us and we say, well, I found out that lie wasn't true, but this one must be. This one must be. Or, well, no, that other one definitely has to be true because I know this one is true. Then you have the bandwagon effect, okay? The tendency to do or believe, once again, lies. And guys, I want you to take a look at the way that they lied. I want you to take a look at you saw the format. Thank you, Tina. You saw the format in which they lied. They said, so Periscope screwed you over. That's totally screwed up, man. First off, not true. Notice how he said it in the form of a sentence rather than a question? That's because he understands that bias. And we'll get into the bias that he was using, right? But he used a sentence instead of a question to make it look like it was confirming evidence rather than disconfirming evidence. And then he goes, weren't you really popular on there? That is a way to speak into existence the popularity we had to make it look like we were credible, which we were and are, right? But then he said, weren't you really? As in past tense, to try and disillusion your mind into believing that we are no longer relevant. Do you see it? And then why did they block you? Once again, that form of the question, assuming and getting you to think that we got blocked, which first off, we're not, and we weren't blocked. And second, asking it in the form of a question to make it appear as if he has a genuine question and cares. Okay? And when you understand the depth of these cognitive biases, it can help you to overcome haters, and it can also help you to recognize, the difference between someone's intellectuality and paranoia, right? When I break it down with you, it's obvious, right? When I block that sentence, it's obvious that that's not paranoia. But from the untrained eye, it would look like I blocked a comment with paranoia. But when you break it down with those cognitive biases and understand someone's position and recognize their malicious intent, it's no longer. Now it makes sense. And that's what I'm trying to help you to come to, a place of sense, rather than being a sheep, being the shepherd. This discussion seems very personal to you. Have you been affected by people who use these tactics? Well, yes and no. Okay, yes. So, Patch, yes, it's extremely personal to me. I was manipulated pretty much nonstop growing up. So, in order to gain my intellectual and psychological freedom, I became very self-educated because I was tired of being under the thumb of other very manipulative people. I swore to myself 2 things. Number 1, not one person on this planet for the rest of my life will ever pull one over on me again. And I mean in a big way. Not little things here and there. Like I put my hope in people, they end up being wrong. But I will never again let someone pull one over on me. And 2, I will never, ever, ever use this knowledge, use this wisdom to manipulate anyone. I will do this 100% transparently. That doesn't mean I give you every answer. It doesn't mean I speak every little thing into existence, but it does mean I always tell you the truth. That's what that means to me. And yes, it is very personal. But thank you, Soul Patch. I know I have. Yeah, that was hard for me, but there you go. Like a closed statement. Yeah. Do you think at this point there's no such thing as redeeming myself? I have no reason to have to redeem anything. But you're more than welcome to be blocked. How do you know if someone really cares? You have to look deep. You have to look deep. I mean, I know that's such a cop-out answer, but it's a very general question. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Just being very evaluative. Evaluate the person. People always respond to evidence most of the time anyway. I know, whether it's true or not. Rapid Rob says, I would no longer acknowledge them, forget them. Your words give them power. Yes and no. It also gives their followers power. And if I can educate their followers to their level, they will no longer follow them. Instead of just saying forget them, it's helping to educate people to a higher place. But bias isn't always associated with malicious intent. And John McCall is making an effort to reverse that statement because he has been personally hurt by the fact that we grew past a grassroots movement. So he is making an effort to use that cognitive bias against me. So not going to happen. Nice try, though. And he was affected by jealousy. That's actual jealousy. Awesome, yes. Well said. Thank you, Henry. And that's people that you know they're gone. Like some people, they're just gone. And those people that are gone from you, most of the time, the people who are absolutely gone from you, they're either people who want to make money off of you or people who are downright jealous of you. I have a lot of day ones that are ruthless. Ruthless. Once we grew past a grassroots movement, they lost their mind and they got extremely hateful. Donlad, what's up, dude? Welcome on. I don't know, Jimmy, you're attributing intentions to people that they may not even have. What people? I've never used names. Everyone has a point of view. Yes, they do. And I've been very clear on that. And I also see you taking an angle. And that's why I need to learn to block as soon as I see it rather than let it build. What's up, Joe? How are you? Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, that's another thing, is roots. Some people will build into a community and they will make an effort to make themselves known and make themselves credible. So that way, when they come out and they try and oust you, you look bad for blocking them. And that's a prime example of that. I had a couple people do that to me a few months ago. For anybody that remembers, I had a couple people try that on me a few months ago. And they got pretty close. They were up and around and da-da-da-da-da. And then they made an effort and they made it look like they were being attacked by my haters. When actually, they were spending their spare time in the broadcasts of my haters. And they thought I didn't know about it. So, there's your answer. And this is that groupthink, guys. This is the best. This brings it, and this is actually a perfect example of the next one. Our next cognitive bias. Are you going to go back to the other platform? Possibly. We'll see. Now this, guys, just so you know, and God works in mysterious ways, because wait till you hear the very next cognitive bias. To block or not block, that is the question. Guys, now wait till you hear this next cognitive bias. Those haters literally set it up for me. No joke. The bandwagon effect. The tendency to do or believe things because many other people do or believe the same, related to groupthink and herd behavior. Are you a sheep? Are you a sheep? That's a real question. Are you a sheep? Next. Bah. Yep. So, yeah. So when they all gang up and when they do a hate mob and they come in here 4 at a time trying to pretend like they like me and then flipping the question on me, guys, they're going to get skill, but they're not good enough. All right. Then you got, and why do you think we're getting good haters? Why do you think we're getting clever haters? Because we're raising the bar. We're starting to get more clever haters because we're starting to raise the bar on how smart we are. That's why. And as we get bigger and as we get better, we will only get the exact equal, the opposite equal reaction. The bigger we get, the bigger haters we will get. But the bigger we get, the better content we have, the greater community have, and the stronger we will be. So no worries. Amy says, I saw your video of the caves. They're very beautiful. Thank you, Amy. Thank you. So next we have base rate fallacy or base rate neglect. The tendency to ignore base rate information, generic general information, and focus on specific information only pertaining to a certain case. So for example, throughout my entire career on social media, I have proven to be legitimate. I have proven to be trustworthy. What's up, Clyde? How are you? I have proven to bring you decent content through our conversation. I have proven to help people, not only in our YouTube, but through my personal conversations with people. Right? Keep it coming. Guys, they will make every effort to make me look paranoid. But you know why? You know why? Because I'm showing you this. Because I'm teaching you. Because you are teaching yourself. By being in this broadcast and listening to this, you are rising above. I want you to focus very hard. Focus very hard. And use discipline. And the next time you see that crap, you have to be smart enough to ignore it. Because they are going to give every effort to say to you, why don't you on you now? I'm not interested in that. They're going to make every effort to put static in your brain and to get you to question me. Guaranteed. All right? So keep listening. You got to know what's legitimate, what's not. They're going to make every effort to turn your brain off, to turn the fuzz on and get you going crazy. Lets you monetize too. It's all good. It's all good. Why do they have to be so mean? Morbid hatred, Amy. It's called the destruction of man. It's called human beings that have no soul. And they act on that action. They act on that fact. They've sacrificed themselves to negativity. They no longer exist in my mind. What I'm doing right here is not to acknowledge haters. It's to help save the people who have been duped by them. Keyboard warriors, yep. The tendency, so base rate fallacy, the tendency to ignore base rate information. So I have proof. I have a 3-month track record of how well we do, how legitimate we are, and how awesome our family is, right? So that fallacy, they do not win. Don Law, no they don't. Don Law, if they won on social media, dude, I guarantee you there would be no famous people. There would be no social media if they won on social media. Okay? They do not win on social media. That's not how it works. They're a small fraction of a percentage of people hiding behind keyboards. Okay? They're nothing to be afraid of. They are a fraction of a fraction. And they might be 1 million, they might be 2 million, they might be 100 million or 200 million. But they're not 6 billion. They're not 7 billion. Okay? Guaranteed they're no more than a couple 100 million. And that's nothing to be afraid of in the grand scheme of things. Now, if you're not willing to invest your life into it, yeah, it's a pretty scary thought, and you probably shouldn't pursue it. But if you want it as bad as I do it. But you got to be strong enough to push through the storm. Because it's going to come. You see it coming to me every day, right? But I'm going to power through it. I power through it every day. And I will power through it for the rest of my life. The Pray for Vegas background. Thank you, Amber. Thank you. All right? So it's all good. So next we have belief bias. An effect where someone's evaluation of the logical strength of an argument is based on the believability of the conclusion. So, for example, okay, this is an effect where someone's evaluation okay, so this is like when I say that we will be at 1 million in 1 year. Give me a 1 if it sounds pretty unbelievable. This goes to my people too. It's all good. Guys, I want the honest truth. If you feel it sounds unbelievable for me to say that we will have 1 million subscribers in 1 year, give me a 1. Go ahead. Lola, that's fine. That's everybody. Guys, if you like me, if you don't like me, I want to hear. Go ahead. 1. Go ahead. And I know my haters. Oh, and I know where you come from. Tina, thank you. Yeah. 1, Clyde, it's all good. What's up, Rachel? How are you? Always do your research, folks. Rapid Robs is 1. Yep, pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, and guys, just so you know, maybe half. 1 is fine. Don't worry about getting blocked. Guys, that's another thing. If me telling you about this stuff should tell you anything, understand the fact that when I block somebody, we had this conversation when I was over on Periscope. When I block somebody, I know who I'm blocking. Okay? Especially on YouTube. Much, much easier while we're small on YouTube. Trust me when I say if somebody gets blocked, it's for an actual reason. It's not because they put 1. It's because I already know who they are, and I know what platform they came from. And I know that they're going to bring nothing but annoyance. So I make sure to get rid of them. Yeah. So. I don't, that kid is all over the place. I never know. So that's, worry about him. So that's belief bias. Good man. Yep. And now every comment, Han says good man. Now these people are in here and they're reporting every comment that comes up on screen. It's just like bullies in school, but they grew up and never changed. It's all good. We're not looking to incite hate against them. All right, we're not looking to incite hate against them. So that's belief bias. So like I said, so you guys put a 1, right? It's like pretty unbelievable that we'll be 1 million in a year. Well, I'll tell you right now as a fact. You can record me saying this and record it back in a year if we don't make it. We will be at 1 million subscribers by this time next year. Guaranteed. In my mind and in my brain, I can calculate this, and I do calculate it. It's a calculation. Now, with that said, guys, that's if everything goes as planned, okay? We've had little things here and there. There's no hitches, there's no speed bumps. But there have been course changes, but very small course changes. What's that calculation? It's in my brain. It's not for anybody else, you know. I believe you will. Thank you, Robin. See, now here's the thing. Robin, I love you. But do you mind if I use your your confidence in me as an example to showcase one of the cognitive biases? It all starts with a vision. You absolutely got it, Henry. Absolutely. Thought typing meant you would make it. Sorry, no, it's all good. I believe it, though thought you were already there. Thank you. Sure. Okay, so that's an example of the cognitive bias. I'm a non-conforming beacon of positivity. You got my support. Thanks, bro. So that's an example of the cognitive bias. Where was it? We were on it. Maybe we haven't gone over it yet. But Robin's belief in my ability to get us to 1 million, our ability to get to 1 million subscribers by next year, technically, unless Robin has calculated it too, which technically is possible, it's just like I don't see why she would want to take the time to do that, because that sounds really boring if it's not, you know, benefiting my life. Like, I'm not worried about where somebody else is going to be. You know, so that would be a bias. That would be some sort of cognitive system that formed her opinion without actual facts. You know, it's based on confidence, it's based on hope, and it's appreciated, and I'm thankful for it. And you've put your hope in the right place, that's for sure. But technically, you know, think of it like this: if you can't prove it, then the psychology of it probably took a shortcut somewhere along the way. And there's nothing wrong with that either way. As long as you can put your chips down and be pretty sure based on the other information. So probability shows that I have, through track record, shown my ability to get us to where we are, right? Now, that doesn't guarantee we're going to be where we're going, but it helps. It helps that belief. It helps solidify that belief. But technically, you can't prove it. So that would mean that, somewhere along the line, that information was traded for hope. That calculation, that prediction was traded for hope, which is not wrong, depending on who you are, right? Like for me to hope on a celebrity to make it further, that's hope. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as I have proof that they've shown a track record of getting there. But like if they're just not a bad person, or if they're just not a good person, I mean, it's kind of a bad evaluation. I'm basing it off of something else. So anyway, Ben Franklin effect. A person who has performed a favor for someone. Now here we go, based on belief. Thank you, Robin. Now here we go. This is Ben Franklin effect. Guys, this is another big one that the haters use. The haters love this, okay? Absolutely love this. And a lot of people use this in their personal lives. When I hear of people that like me and they also like one of the people who slanders my name 24/7 and makes up stories about me, makes absolutely no sense to most people, right? Why on earth would they think like that? Like, what's wrong with them? But really, there's nothing wrong with them. This is one of those biases. This is one of the biases that affects them that way. And it's called the Ben Franklin effect. A person who has performed a favor for someone is more likely to do another favor for that person than they would if they had received a favor from that person. Okay? So, a lot of these people have helped out along the way some of these haters, right? They've helped them grow. And they feel a part of their community. They feel that they are a part of their ecosystem. They feel important. And they don't want to let that person down. So a lot of times, their mind will shift away from the truth and towards that person's lies because they have personally invested in that person. And they don't want to be wrong about that investment. They don't want to find out that maybe they shot somebody $100, or maybe they shared with all their friends and told everybody about that person. They don't want to accept in their mind that that could have been the wrong choice. So it's absolute denial and acceptance of a delusion that, the other person must be false, and that's that. Then you have, so that is the Ben Franklin effect. And that also is the effect where people like to give a lot more than they like to receive, believe it or not. It's a position of power, and it's of charity. In our heart, we do appreciate generosity. We appreciate charity to give. So when we give to somebody, people wonder, they're like, well, take. You have to worry about yourself. But what people don't understand is your emotional, psychological state is very much relying upon that system of give and take. What is your level of generosity? And believe it or not, generosity helps to align your chakras and align the way that your brain works so much more than ever receiving anything. That's why generosity wins. That's why giving is always the right choice. Gotta read that. It's really interesting. What's that? Ben Franklin effect, yeah. Then Bergson's paradox, the tendency to misinterpret statistical experiments involving conditional probabilities. Trolling is like a drug to them. That's Bergson's paradox. The tendency to give is to receive. Why do you think? How the heck do you think I do this? How on earth do you think, I'm still happy? I just lost my largest main platform. Now, technically, I didn't lose it because I still have it, but I'm waiting to hear back if they're going to give me the money or not and, allow me to keep my star. If not, then we're going to approach it differently, but I may still use it. We'll see. But, yeah. So, yeah, I'm still extremely happy because this whole time it's never been about me. Why do you think that when I lose something, I'm still so chipper? Because I haven't lost anything. Do you talk to Annie? No, who's Annie? I love your passion. Thank you, Rob. I've had a lot of people ask about that. Who the heck is Annie? I don't even know who Annie is. Then we got bias blind spot, the tendency to see oneself as less biased than other people, or to be able to identify more cognitive biases in others than oneself. So for example, I evaluate myself on these biases about once a week. Now, not every single one of them, but the ones that I know I succumb to more. And I evaluate myself to make sure that I'm not doing that with people. And I do. We all do. And when you don't pay attention to them, we do a lot of slip-ups. I think they feel if they helped you, they have some control over you, a gift with a string attached. Some people do, some people don't. Most people don't. Believe it or not, Hans, I've only had maybe 1 or 2 people try to give to me with some form of expectation. Most people don't do it. And it really is because I say it straight out. They see that I can't be bought over, so they usually don't try it. But bias blind spot, the tendency to see oneself as less biased than other people, or to so this is like the whole I'm right, you're wrong thing. This is the whole I know everything. You know what I mean? Like when people are like, I know everything, and you could tell that they have that attitude. That's the bias. That's called bias blind spot, where people think that they are more level-headed on their choices than somebody else. So, like, for example, when people choose to believe a hater over Jimmy Saroka, they believe that they're less biased. The bias is obvious. The weight is on the scale, right? You got all this hate stacked up, and then you got the truth is hanging out up here. But they're still sitting on this side of the scale because they're saying they know better. Even though their perception is skewed, they're saying that they're looking across. They're looking up, but they say they're looking across, because they are living in a delusion. They're choosing to totally ignore reality because that reality is too difficult to face, because it would mean that they're wrong on a very deep level. And that, my friends, is pretty hard to break. That bias right there, bias blind spot, very difficult to break in people. And very difficult to break in yourself, because it means you have to remove yourself from your reality to see what's false and what's true. But what I will tell you guys, if you want to unlock some pretty awesome secrets in your own life, I like to be wrong. Me too. If you want to unlock some awesome secrets in your life, that's one of the best things you can do for yourself. Remove bias. But the hard part, figuring out what biases you have and figuring out how to break them. Because it takes the knowledge of knowing what they are and how to get to figuring out how they're affecting you. It's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. It's possible, but it's pretty hard. Okay, I'm getting really unfocused here. Where's my battery at? 31. Okay, we're gonna have to plug up here. I can't believe how many of you are still chilling out here. We got some more to go. We're only on the behavioral biases. I'm gonna go through this whole thing. If this is boring for you, you can leave. But like I said, guys, if you're smart enough, stick around, and I promise you, more than likely, unless you're just totally just sitting here and hate, more than likely you will never listen to a hater again. If you sit here till the end of this broadcast, more than likely, this is different. What's up, Katie? More than likely, you will never listen to a hater ever again, because this is going to educate you. Cheerleader effect. The tendency for people to appear more attractive in a group than isolation. We're going to skip that one. We're going to skip that one. Where is it? That's so funny. Choice supportive bias. For anyone wondering about the cheerleader effect, it pretty much just has to do with dominance, group dominance. It's psychological, obviously. Choice supportive bias, the tendency to remember one's choices as better than they actually were. For example, when I was in Florida and sold my car to get back to Pennsylvania for a ticket because I had too much ego to accept help from somebody to get back, well, it took me a really long time to realize that wasn't the right choice, believe it or not, because I was in a delusion where I needed to be right, and it wasn't. It was a wrong choice, obviously. So whenever we make a choice and we think it was much better than, what it actually is. So a perfect example of that is how the haters justify the way that they harass, torture, and get people to commit suicide. And then they justify it by calling themselves little vigilantes. that's absolutely what's called the choice supportive bias. But then we have clustering illusion. Clustering illusion. The tendency to overestimate the importance of small... Okay, it is so hot right now. Give me 1 second real quick. How the heck are 44 of you not bored right now? God. I mean, this is good stuff, but I can't believe how many of you are here right now. Good for you. Good for you trying to take control in your life. Clustering illusion. The tendency to overestimate the importance of small runs, stakes, or clusters in large samples of random data. That is seeing phantom patterns. Yeah. This has been very educational thus far. Good. This clustering illusion, the tendency to overestimate important clusters in large samples of random data. This is seeing phantom patterns. Okay, so where are you? I'm in Georgia. So, what's it called? Yeah. Very interesting. So, for example, we will actually lead one bias into the other. Bandwagoning, or not bandwagoning, just driving around. Katie, is that you? Katie? No, wait. That's probably not her. Yeah, Katie, feel free to message me off platform. Very informative. Good. What was it? Yeah, I don't think she meant it that way, but I didn't. Oh, she said I didn't mean it like that. How do you take somebody off of? I guess you can't take them off of timeout. Yeah, no, I'm not just driving around. I never just drive around. Never actually thought about these before. Yeah? Josh, for some reason, I don't know that I believe that. But, clustering illusion, tendency to overestimate the importance of small... So, like, so people believe a lie, and then what they start to do is in their mind, they're like, where is... What? Where's the mountains? They're cooler. Thanks, honeypot. I don't know. So, like, when people create patterns about me, like when people create a false illusion that I'm sitting in Pennsylvania right now. That's a big one. What totally bogus. One of the craziest things I've ever heard. But when they think something like that is most definitely clustering illusion. When they are so heavily sedated by falsehood that they have to find a lie because they just can't accept what's real. I'm working on a track and writing some of your points down, and my girl is rubbing my back, so I'm all ears. Sweet, bro. Sorry, man. Where are you in Georgia? It's cooler in the mountains, Blue Ridge. Well, thank you, honeypot. So yeah, when they create phantom patterns, coming up with fake things, pretty much. And what the haters will do a lot is they will take data that seems similar and they'll put it together for you, knowing that because they've already won your hate and emotion, then you will believe that phantom cluster. You will believe that that lie that they put together. Phantom cluster. Here's an example. When somebody said that I had a felony harassment charge, that's a phantom cluster. They've taken pieces of information and thrown it together, then called it something else and said, look, this is what it is. That's a phantom cluster. But that is when they put that in front of you to say, look, this is true. And then you believe it because the information is already collected for you, which makes it even more solidified. I try not to go to sleep with hate. That's good. That's good. So that's clustering illusion. Confirmation bias. The tendency to search for, interpret, focus on, and remember information in a way that confirms one's perceptions. That ties back to clustering illusion. So they've already got you believing the hate, then they present more false information. What is your brain naturally going to do? Confirmation bias. You are sooner going to want to confirm your beliefs about somebody that you already have than disprove what you already think. The secret, guys, I will tell you the secret to life. The secret to life is finding a way to constantly disprove yourself without losing your stable standpoints on the things that matter. That's the key to life. Promise you. I don't care what you say. You say I'm 22, da-da-da-da. Watch me. I promise you. The key to life is having an ability to constantly wonder how you're wrong without losing your stature and standpoint on the things that matter most, that you know for a fact you have right, based on contextual evidence. That's confirmation bias. So for those of you out there that have heard lies and lies and lies and lies, and you're constantly trying to confirm that I'm a bad guy, that what they're saying is true, question yourself. Don't make it about me. There it is. It's the pride. There's that pride right there. There's that ego. It's that ego. That person has confirmation bias. They have obsessively focused on the false evidence, and they cannot be wrong. So they will take every stance possible to prove that my stance is false. It's obvious. I have pride sometimes. Me too. When you look at the truth, the psychological truth, the evidence is obvious. It pops out right in front of you. So if you're watching this right now, and any of this speaks to you, dig deep. Dig deep. Question it. Because I promise you guys, and once again, take me out of the equation. Take Jimmy Saroka out of the equation. Information. Not me. Forget about me. Focus on what I'm literally reading off a Wikipedia page. This isn't Jimmy's interpretation. This isn't Jimmy manipulating. This is raw data. Fact. Psychological tendencies. Fact. Take it without me. Take it without the haters. Then reapproach the scenario. Use your evidence and see what you come up with. That's what I recommend. And I promise you, you'll come out liking me a little bit more. Congruence bias. The tendency to test hypotheses exclusively through direct testing instead of testing possible alternative hypotheses. So, what's it called? What? What's that, Franco? How are you? Franco, I'm not really looking to talk about anything in scope over here. You can hit me up personally if you want. But thank you. I think that was a good thing. So thank you. So I could not handle people hating on me. It would send me into a panic attack. Oh God. Sorry to hear it. Yeah, it's emotion. It's tough. That usually ties back from childhood trauma, but congruence bias, the tendency to test hypotheses exclusively through direct testing. Okay, more or less what this is talking about is like, and this is, oh my gosh, guys, one of the three biggest by far. Hear me out. Congruence bias. One of the biggest by far. This is when people will say, okay, Jimmy's false, but they will only run the evidence through tests that they have already personally rigged in their own mind. And 9 times out of 10, people don't realize they're doing it. They've set up a test in their mind about what's true and false. Okay, great. See you later, dude. Don't care. What's it called? They've already had it, like, we were good like 5 minutes ago, so I don't even know what you're talking about. What's it called? They were already good to go, like in their own mind. think of it like they say to me, Jimmy, I have this car and it takes gasoline engine, or it takes gasoline fuel, right? But here's what I'm going to do. We're going to put diesel in this vehicle. And I will believe you that you're real and you're a good person if this car successfully runs on diesel. But guess what? It doesn't. They've already predetermined. They've set up an experiment that is destined to fail. And no matter what, they will come up with a false answer. And that's congruence bias. Conjunction fallacy. The tendency, find a lot of hateful people just do it because they are following others' lead to be mean. Popularity bias is a big one. We'll get into that. Conjunction fallacy. The tendency to assume that specific conditions are more probable than general ones. Okay. The biggest illusion. When people say that I started a cult or they compare me to Charles Manson, that is conjunction fallacy. The tendency to assume that something that is less than 0.00007% possible is the only possible conclusion. There's your conjunction fallacy. I think we've touched on that one well. Now we'll move on. Conservatism, belief revision. The tendency to revise one's belief insufficiently when presented with new evidence. So that pretty much just means when people hear more false evidence that they cling to it even more. Okay? Then you have continued influence effect. The tendency to believe previously learned misinformation even after it has been corrected. Misinformation can still influence inferences one generates after a correction has occurred. That's continued influence effect. So when people find out, no, I'm not an international criminal. No, I'm not a child predator. No, I'm not beating people or stealing or any of the above. Probably the biggest. That's posse's not fine. What? I don't understand. Okay. Great. No, it's not. But you got to understand the fact that mass media accounts for less than social media by far. All right, go look up the percentages. We're not going to get into that right now. But mass media may not have liked him, but social media overwhelmingly so. And that's not me speaking for him or against him. This is me speaking on data. Because trust me, I'm not interested in getting into that stuff. Charles Manson, people say that to you. I'm glad you have beat them with a positive attitude. It's crazy. Anyway. Continued influence effect, that's what that is when people, they hear false stuff and then they find out that it's not true. And they still want to believe it. Because it's hard for them to, be wrong. I love NASA. Cool, Sergio. Good stuff. Contrast effect. The enhancement or reduction of a certain perception stimuli when compared with a recently observed contrasting object. Give me a minute. Okay, contrast effect. So when someone finds out that something isn't true. Oh, here's a good one. When we get sponsored by a business or a product and things go very well, and that is proof of our social legitimacy, and the people who are stuck on the lies, emotionally, they lose it. They say, he doesn't deserve this, da-da-da-da. That is them having an adverse emotional reaction because their brain has now said, okay, look it, he's legitimate. And in order to hold their stance, they have to become more irrational. They have to become more emotional. Otherwise, they would be forced to face the reality of our social legitimacy, which would cause them to be wrong, which would mean they would have to grow. And growth and change is uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable, to the point where people will avoid it with illusion. So that's contrast effect. Guys, now as we're talking about this, I don't want attitudes. I don't want your attitudes to get shifted towards hate, because even me talking about this can affect your emotional state and be focused on the haters. That's not what I want you to do. I want you to focus on the data, because even that, guys, you can get emotionally manipulated in my direction. I don't want that. Your brain will do everything in its power to stop you from getting smarter. It's true though, no? Doesn't matter if it's true or not. That's the point. What's that? It's validation. Asking if it's true or not, that's to seek validation for that point, to justify that emotional point. Even I let go of that. You don't want it. Don't seek to be right or wrong. Don't seek to be right or wrong. Seek to know the truth. There is a difference between being right and wrong and the truth. The truth does not always mean that you're right, and it doesn't always mean that you're wrong. That's right, Joe Mass. Totally agreed. Okay? So that's contrast effect. But like I said, you don't want to get emotionally biased on it. It's just an observation of others. It's a continued effort to justify that statement. Let it go. Let it go. Trust me. Let it go. Don't trust me. Trust the data. Let it go. Okay. It's tough. It's freaking hard. It's very, very difficult. If there's one thing I can promise you, it is the most humbling thing in the world. It's really hard because you want to tell them what you think of them. Yeah. It's the hardest thing in the world. But it's humble. What's up, Karan? How are you, Karan Deep? Feels good to let it go. Yes. It's freeing. It's freeing. Guys, let go of emotional slavery. When you hold on to these things and you embrace the hate that they hand to you, they are captivating you. They are putting chains on you and putting you in emotional slavery. Be free. Enjoy your freedom. Courtesy bias. The tendency to give an opinion that is more socially correct than one's true opinion, so as to avoid offending anyone. I don't think we need to go into that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for, humbling me. Thanks for humbling me by, recognizing the data. Because we're all on the same level. Guys, when we don't focus on being right and wrong and we focus on the truth, then we are all on the same level. We all operate by the same system. Do you get that? Welcome from Argentina, Gonzalo. Then you operate on that same mental system. Works the same way. Courtesy bias, yeah, socially we got that one. Well, I was going to go see what this scope thing was, but it just sounds like a lot of hateful people. No, it's not all hateful people. It's not. You can if you'd like. It's just you have to be very mentally disciplined to use it appropriately. It can be a weapon in the wrong hands, but it can be a good tool in the right hands. Accept my thank you and let it go. I like you. Curse of knowledge. When better informed people find it extremely difficult to think about problems from the perspective of lesser informed people. That's the pride. I get that. I get that pride. That's true. Thank you again. You're welcome. I get that. I get that sometimes. Is when I'll have somebody who I know for a fact goes, hi, hello, Gonzalo. When there's somebody that I know for a fact doesn't get something nearly as well as I do. But they have a different angle, a different perspective, and they have the ear of somebody important or something like that. And I get full of myself. So I've been getting better with that, but that's definitely a very real thing. When you understand something better, so you decide not to listen to somebody else who may have one little nugget to offer you. That's extremely important. Declinism. The belief that a society or institution is tending towards decline. Particularly, it is the predisposition to view the past favorably, rosy retrospection, and future negativity. So pretty much thinking that something has failed, like the system has failed, or stuff like that. Like when like things looked better before. So people, Sergio says, haha. So like for example, when people are like, old man syndrome, Chris Hawthorne, good man. Like when people, the 50s were the best. Guys, everything has its caveats, okay? So things are getting better. They're not getting worse. They're getting better, okay? Don't think about them. They're not getting worse. And they're not getting worse or better, because there's no such thing as either. It's a... Are we back? Testing. Am I alive? You're back. Okay. Am I boring you guys, or do you want to keep going?